Before he became Trump's bulldog, Emile Bovie was nearly demoted for bellicose management style, end quote. According to this article, which was put into the record, when you served as a unit chief at the Southern District of New York, and I'm again quoting this article, Mr. Bovie quickly garnered a reputation as a manager who was sharply critical of the people who worked for him and unable to control his anger. His conduct was abusive, according to one former member of the unit. Are you familiar with this article?
I am.
Okay. So going on, according to this article, in 2020 or early 2021, the Executive Committee of the U.S. Attorney's Office opened a formal inquiry.
Welcome back, patriots, to Right View Nation, the loudest, proudest, and most unapologetic voice for truth, freedom, and good old American common sense. And today, we've got a firestorm to talk about, because what we just witnessed from Senator Mazie Hirono is nothing short of disgraceful. Another blatant example of how the radical left uses the judiciary not as a pillar of justice, but as a political weapon. Let me walk you through it. Emile Bovie, an accomplished prosecutor, decorated legal mind, and a man who has served this country honorably, was being grilled by Hirono. And not about his qualifications. Not about the Constitution. No. She launched a character assassination campaign straight out of the Democrat playbook. Instead of asking meaningful questions about constitutional interpretation, judicial philosophy, or case precedent, she dug up some anonymous hit piece from Politico. Yes, that Politico, claiming Bovie was once almost demoted for his management style. Almost. Not actually. No action taken. But that didn't matter to Hirono. Because when you're on the left, the accusation is the conviction. She leaned into this whisper campaign, filled with unnamed sources and backroom gossip like it was gospel. Why? Because Bovie dared to call out the weaponization of the January 6th prosecutions. That's his real crime to the left. He told the truth. And when you speak truth to the radical narrative, they come for you. Now let's talk about Hirono herself.
I ask every nominee who comes before any of the committees on which I sit the following two initial questions that go to fitness to serve by the nominee. I'll ask you, Mr. Bovie, since you became a legal adult, have you made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No.
In the February 23rd, 2025 report in Politico, the title was, quote, before he became Trump's bulldog, Emile Bovie was nearly demoted for bellicose management style, end quote. According to this article, which was put into the record, when you served as a unit chief at the Southern District of New York, and I'm again quoting this article, Mr. Bovie quickly garnered a reputation as a manager who was sharply critical of the people who worked for him and unable to control his anger. His conduct was abusive, according to one former member of the unit. Are you familiar with this article?
I am.
So going on, according to this article, in 2020 or early 2021, the Executive Committee of the U.S. Attorney's Office opened a formal inquiry into Bovie's management style. They interviewed prosecutors who worked for him about his behavior, and they decided that he should be removed from his role as a supervisor, end quote. Of course, you are aware of this inquiry and their recommendation.
As
Yes?
well as the fact
No?
that I was not removed.
Yes?
I was not removed, Senator.
Can you speak into the mic so we can all hear your answers, please?
I apologize. I was not removed, Senator.
I know you were not removed because the article goes on to say that when this committee decided to demote you and remove you, you pleaded with them to allow you to remain in your job and you pledged that you would commit to improving your behavior. Did you do that? Did you request they not remove you? Did you plead that you not be removed and that you would change your behavior?
That
No.
That characterization is not accurate, Senator.
So you did not change your behavior at all, or did you?
Senator, I'm not perfect. And so when I get constructive criticism,
Speak into the mic, please.
when I get constructive criticism, I absolutely take account of that and try and be better at my job. And I did that in that instance. But the characterization in that article by anonymous sources from a whisper campaign from SDNY alums is not accurate.
The fact of the matter is, though, this committee did talk to people who worked for you, and they concluded that you engaged in abusive behavior and that you should be removed, but you got to stay. And the article, you disagree with the characterization, but why would they go through all this trouble to investigate and all of that? And they let you stay, unless I hope that you had said, well, you would change your behavior. Because the attitude, the behavior of a judge, I think is, that is important for us to understand. During your time as a supervisor in the Southern District of New York, you supervised a team that prosecuted U.S. v. Alistair. You supervised them.
Yes.
And in that case, prosecutors failed to disclose evidence to the point where, even though there was a judgment of guilty, so it resulted in the jury's verdict being overturned and the charges dropped. And the district court wrote, which I think is pretty unusual, that there was, and I quote the district court, insufficient supervision. You acknowledged just now that you were the supervisor. Insufficient supervision of disclosure obligations by the USAO's unit chiefs. Do you recall the court making that assessment of your supervisory
I do,
capability?
Senator, and I respect Judge Nathan, and I think that what she was trying to accomplish in that decision was to make sure that there were protections in place.
Okay,
so
I am running out of time. I just wanted to do, you had said that the January 6 prosecutions were a grave injustice. So does that mean that you agreed with President Trump's pardon of all of the convicted felons?
I am not in a position as a nominee senator to comment on any president's use of the pardon power, which is committed to presidents.
Once again, I should think that because you characterize those prosecutions as a grave injustice, I would think that you would be happy that the president pardoned everybody. Thank you.
Senator Hall.
This is the same senator who has a long record of dismissing due process when it doesn't suit her ideology. The same senator who once said that the burden of proof doesn't lie with the accuser in a sexual assault case. It lies with the accused. Let that sink in. She doesn't want fairness. She doesn't want balance. She wants blind allegiance to her narrative and absolute obedience from anyone who stands before her committee. And if you don't kneel, she'll smear you. And what did Emile Bove do that was so egregious? He supervised a prosecution where, yes, the court ruled that evidence disclosure was mishandled. But did he hide evidence himself? No. Did he act unethically? No. He took responsibility. He respected the judge's ruling. And yet, Hirono painted him like a criminal for doing his job. It's not enough for them to disagree with you. They want to destroy you. This isn't about Bove. This is about you. It's about every conservative, every constitutionalist, every Trump supporter who dares to think for themselves. If you believe in border security, in the Second Amendment, in election integrity, guess what? People like Hirono will try to label you unfit. And let's not forget how she tried to trap Bove on the issue of January 6th. She tried to corner him, saying if he believed those prosecutions were unjust, why didn't he cheer Trump's pardons? This is classic leftist trickery. She knows full well a judicial nominee can't comment on executive pardons. She doesn't care. She wanted a soundbite. She wanted to drag his name through the mud. Let me be crystal clear. When Democrats like Mazie Hirono politicize the confirmation process, they aren't defending democracy, they're dismantling it. Slowly, strategically, and with zero regard for truth, fairness, or the American people. Judges should be impartial. They should interpret law, not manipulate it. And when we have brave, principled nominees like Emile Bove being smeared for doing their duty, it's not just an attack on him. It's an attack on every conservative voice in this country. So what do, patriots? We fight back. We expose the hypocrisy. We call out the lies. We stand behind every honest, tough, and Constitution-loving American that the left tries to silence. Let Hirono and her DC elites know. We're not afraid of their smears, and we will not bow to their intimidation tactics. Stay strong. Stay free. Stay unapologetically American. This is Right View Nation. Like, share, and hit that bell, because the truth needs reinforcements.